Emanny addresses punching Queenzflip's employee back Woody.
This is not a content moment for me. So the whole conversation felt like things were just chaotic and no one really had a hold on the purpose of us being there and creating. I pulled Woody to the side and I said, yo, Woody, you are the quarterback, right? You
Hmm.
are the person who is supposed to make this move. I'm following your lead. Let me know what you need me to do so that we can make sure we entertain the audience because I feel like they're entertaining themselves.
Absolutely.
Had that conversation. I think a big part of why I blew up is because Woody, whether he was drunk or not, Woody was creating in a sense, like in wrestling. If you creating a level of conflict between people, you don't decide to do that on your own. That's something that you do with the other person, knowing what's the motive, what's the action, what are we doing here. So even in that moment, if Woody's whole plan, even in addressing me or Gary in any way, was really for content, he never discussed that with nobody. So
Hmm.
you have to allow other people to also play into the character that you want them to play into to get the point across. So as an entertainer, that was my disappointment first in Woody.
Yeah.
And then even the second part of the disappointment was we had a conversation after all of that, and he continued to keep doing things without really involving the people that he's doing the content with. So that's just a problem. So people, there's some natural things that happen on here, but it's not that crazy. But then there's some bigger
Yo.
things. See, even right now when I'm doing this, I'm not doing this for no response or for no content, Woody. Like I'm really not. I'm doing this because for me, when I left out of there, that to me misrepresented who I want to be looked at as an
Gotcha.
entertainer. That's
Gotcha.
not a part of me being an entertainer.
Understood.
I know that I'm a man with a temper problem that I need to honestly work on because that was just a bad representation of myself. It's a
Right.
bad representation of why I was even there. I was there solely to support my man, not to create a
Right.
viral moment or for no fighting, not none of
So
that. That's not. So when things like this happen, I feel like I didn't exude the professionalism off the rip because if I got that mad, I should have been able to pull him to the side and say, yo, Woody, I don't think that this is going the right way. I don't know if you're doing this for content, whatever. So I handle that absolutely wrong. But I need everybody to take some level of accountability as well as, yo, in order to create good content, you can't do it by yourself. And that was my larger point the whole night. It was successful in the sense of people were entertained, but for me, it wasn't successful because I don't think nobody in there grew as an entertainer. I think I digressed. I think Woody digressed. I think, everybody just went in there on their own type of time and not really understanding that the product didn't need that moment to still be good. I don't need like I don't I like I left there with the thought, damn, I hope my kids didn't see this because I don't want them thinking, yo, damn, my dad can't even control it. Like that's not what I want to put out to the world. I said to Flip, I was going to talk to him after about, why I thought certain
what's
people
up?
shouldn't do certain things, but the way I represented myself, I'm not really in a position to tell him nothing about nothing because I represented myself in a way that I just should have not represented, not just me, but Flip and JBP, everybody that's involved in trusting in me to move a certain way. I don't want no involvement in none of that. I don't think none of the jokes is funny. I really left there feeling like I don't like that this is how I represented myself. I don't ever want to talk about this again. I'm never talking to nobody about this again. And I'm
That's
just
crazy.
I'm just leaving it. I'm leaving it there. I think there's a way better way to entertain the people.
Yeah, on Spaces, Emanny broke down how he felt about the whole situation in terms of punching Queenzflip's employee back Woody. For those of you that don't know, Queenzflip recently had a challenge called In the Room, a challenge where all of the people from Flip the Network would join and they would have to survive a room with a series of challenges presented by Flip and the audience that was watching. However, tensions quickly boiled over when Back Woody entered the scene and he was bugging out. He was obviously inebriated and had some drinks, and he was kind of messing up the flow of things. Now, this angered Emanny so much, he started to sub this or say that people weren't taking this so called opportunity seriously. And Back Woody rightfully knew that Emanny was sneak dissing him, so he addressed it. That immediately led to a full fledged confrontation between the two men. They were broken up. However, they would get back together again. And back Woody would say that he was showing Emanny grace. This set Emanny off, and he punched him in his face. Now, after that whole situation went down, Emanny is on an apology tour. He said he's not giving an apology, but it sure feels like an apology. He basically said that he felt terrible after the situation, and it's not the type of thing he wants to do. But I would argue, why does Emanny continuously find himself in these situations? I mean, he's always going off on people. You saw the Rocky situation. You saw the Good Moms Bad Choices situation where he lets his anger get the best of him. And he's not a young man anymore. So, one thing I would have to say, and I'm very curious to watch, is how Emanny deals with this on the pod. If he goes on the Joe Budden show and Joe Budden's making light of it and Emanny's kikiing, ha-haing, I will know that he is not genuine and that in fact he was lying about feeling some type of somber attitude. But Emanny's not the only person to blame here. We have to look at Queenzflip and analyze how he is profiting off of damaged people. As when I observed the room, it did look like some people were either drunk or on something. Now, I'm not making any aspersions, but that's just what I observed growing up in the New York City lifestyle. Some people were looking bad. Now, I'm not saying who. It wasn't Killer Kev. It wasn't Asia. It wasn't the other lady that put on the boxing gloves, the one that won the fight. It wasn't Emanny. I don't think he was under any types of inebriation. But there was a few, like 2 people there that I was like, okay, it looks like y'all on something. And Flip is orchestrating this whole situation, putting these people in harm's way, and then he gets to go on Spaces and say, I feel bad about what happened. I just feel terrible. Never mind how Queenzflip escalated the situation by throwing back Woody to the ground as if he never knew him as a man. This is why I was so hesitant to go the improper improv. I feel like negative energy follows Flip wherever he goes. He constantly plays lip service to the fact that, oh, he's a changed man. He doesn't want to be the old Flip that set someone up in the studio. At least that's what people say. But it just doesn't add up. This was a poorly prepared in the room. The room looked terrible. The mic situation looked bad. And it just looked like the goal was to put a bunch of people in the room and get crazy. I often heard them reference the real world and how, this was supposed to be kind of akin to that. Well, Bunham and Murray, when they made the real world, it was a situation that was controlled. They planned it out months in advance. And I don't think Flip's doing that. His lack of preparation for improper improv showed in this Flip the Room, in the room, whatever you want to call it. Now, I actually think this has some potential because, this did lead to the fight. And in these reality shows, even if you do try to control things, they often lead to fights. I mean, look at the real world. There's been fights all the time. Look at Road Rules. Fights all the time. So, Flip either needs to do one or 2 things. Make it completely controlled or embrace the fact that he's a messy dude who loves the controversy and goes straight to the moon by making some money. I also got another thing. Flip needs to take all the money he can. I think he got money. He said he got a 5-story house. Buy the best cameras. Buy everything. Make this look like a cinematic showdown. Because I was looking on the Vimeo stream and it looked a little bit like 720p, which is fine if you're doing videos like me, but I don't know, it didn't appear like high quality production. And I think had he been able to make it seem higher, the show was going to go to next levels. Because this should be not looking like 2010 Ustream, and it felt like it looked like that. But let me know what you think about Emanny seemingly feeling bad. I don't know if he's feeling bad because he genuinely feel bad, or if he's just doing that to look that way and make himself the apologetic figure. I don't know, guys. How many times can Emanny be in this situation? Has anybody ever seen Better Call Saul? Right? Jimmy McGill and his brother. His brother was like, yo, you always apologizing for being the bad guy. but every time you just end up being the bad guy. You like being the bad guy. This makes you feel comfortable. This is what you do. This is how you are. You don't want to change because that's the core of your essence. But we will see. Shout out to my Better Call Saul fans. Love that show. And the final season was dumb as hell, though. How spoiler alert, how homie get a deal and then all of a sudden he want to say, I'm taking 50 years. That ain't make no sense. All right, y'all. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, The Stop TV. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, The Stop TV. This is Danny from The Stop. Peace.